Welcome to another edition of Mama's Gone Wild. I'm Nikki Woods.
I'm Mary Boyce.
And Mama Gone Wild number one is now officially Miss
my
Kym
gosh.
Whitley. Good morning.
What's up? Good morning. Y'all all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Well, we've been up for a while.
Right, we do a morning show, so.
Do a little morning show.
Too. I got a baby. You woke up twice.
Okay.
Now what?
All right.
So let's not act
Back
brand
up.
new because we're years in now. We're
Right.
decades in, okay? So we
Yeah.
Okay.
understand. So tell us, Raising Whitley is now on the OWN network every Saturday. I mean, we know you from a ton of stuff.
We never had people
drink
while-
during the, yeah. I feel like we should
This is the
have
thing,
something.
right.
This is like the debate with Mitt Romney.
water.
Yeah, drinking water every time you say something crazy. So tell us about Joshua and how this whole thing came about, and you're now a mommy.
I am a mommy. And Joshua, I was mentoring a girl, and she had a baby. And she left my name at the hospital, obviously. They called me and said, "We have your baby. Can you come get him? Can you come get him?" I thought it was one of my friends playing a joke. I was like, the fries come with that baby. You know, the lady was not laughing. She was like, "No, such and such had a baby and they left your name." I was like, "Well, what you want me to do with them?" Pretty much. And they were like, "Well, you need to come get them." And I said, "Well, what if I don't come get him?" And they said, "Well, he'll be put in the system." I was like, "Well, what is that?" It sounds dark and scary.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Well, you have an hour to make a decision." Pretty much.
Wow.
And that's it.
So let me walk, because I hear the story. I've heard the story, and it was all very confused. So did the lady, your mentor, had the baby, and then she left the hospital and just left the baby? Or was she still in the hospital?
No. She left the hospital. She was done. She had been there. It was time for the baby. I guess the baby had to stay an extra day, and it was time for him to be discharged.
Wow.
And she left my name, and I guess she was like, Kym, she's taking good care of me. Kym will be a good mother. I saw her afterwards, of course, like once the court proceedings started, and she just felt like I would be able to raise him the way that she wanted to be raised. So, for him to be raised. So, she was gone. And but that's the one thing I never want Joshua, since the world is going to know Joshua's story before he does. One thing I don't want him ever to feel like he was abandoned.
Right.
His mother made a calculated choice, and I'm glad she did. And at the end of the day, I believe, and I know for sure that this is all ordained by God. I feel like a child, whether they come through you or to you, when it's your baby, it's your baby. And from the beginning until just every day, I realized that God had a plan, and he said that, you got one egg left and it's on a walker. I'm going to bring you this baby. I feel like Mary. That's what I feel like.
In the Bible?
Yeah, not me.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't. Huh?
I feel like y'all judging me.
Oh, no.
No, we're still waiting for the punchline. We can't take this serious, Kym Whitley.
No. Most of us, like you and me, we had like 9 months to prepare for a baby, and it's still bringing it home was crazy, especially the first time. How did you do it in that short notice? What was that like?
I mean, you didn't have a pamper. You didn't have anything.
Girl, when I tell you, these women showed up to my house with a plastic bag of diapers. It was just a big old plastic bag, and it had diapers in it. It had some little wipes for his belly button, for the umbilical cord, and it had some little bottles of milk. When I tell you, they dropped it off with a sheet of paper that had instructions on it, and they were like, "Good luck, deuces."
Wow, it's amazing.
Let me tell you something. So luckily, I had my parents. My parents were here.
Right.
Oh, it's in the game. My mama took that baby quickly. Started changing his diaper, showing me what to do. Because my hands are big. I got big old girl hands. The baby was about this big. I tried to change the diaper. It was difficult. I couldn't get it. So I didn't change baby's diaper till last week. So he it was hard. We had to run out. I'm telling you. We had to run out and they told us, okay. So I had an hour to make the decision, talk to my parents. They're like, you've always wanted a baby. What are you going to do? You're 95 years old. The baby will be your grandchild. Um, so I made the decision. Then after that hour, they said, we'll be there in an hour and a half. And they said, before we get there, we need you to have a car seat and a bassinet.
Yeah.
Yep.
First of all, I was like, do they still make bassinets? That's the first thing. I ain't heard that in a long time. So you can't tell my daddy bassinet. My daddy is at Target, or Walmart, wherever we were, looking for one of them white bassinets. He was there. He's like, I know we used to have it, the white thing with the wicker. He asked the people where the little white thing, the wicker thing with the little. I was like, once we found it, it literally is like a playpen, a bed, a yard. It got all that stuff. I was like, Dad, this is the new bassinet. He was, oh, that ain't no bassinet. That's a space shuttle. I'm not done. That was not good. So, and you should see my mom and dad, they all running down the aisle, but we got everything, got here, and then, you know, my new life began.
And I guess that, you know, my biggest question, and I haven't heard you talk a lot about it, is the fact that you lost your mom so close to the time that you actually brought Joshua home. And I know, like, for me, still going through the stage, every time my child's now learning about sex. So I still call my mom, like, what about, you know, how am I supposed to talk to him about this? So how have you handled that, not having your mom there to, like you said, teach you the things like changing diapers?
Right. Well, first of all, I want you not to call your mom about sex.
It's still awkward, yes.
Because when she talked to you about sex, that was back in the 30s. Things have changed. I need you to call somebody now.
I want to tell you about the pop-up book I bought to try to help you through that.
I know she gave you a book. My mama gave me a book and sat me in the corner.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah, that's why I turned out to be how I turned out. But it was very close, and that's why when I say everything was ordained by God, it really is a magical story. As painful as it might be, if you're not a believer, you live this story, you are a believer. That you want a child, you're going about your life because you are ADHD and you're foolish and you just do whatever. But you put it out to the universe and you pray and you say, you know, I want a husband, I want a child, all this. And things started to form. And my mom was getting older, not sick. Parents out here ain't never been out here for more than 2 weeks. They ended up staying 4 weeks that time. And then once Joshua came, they ended up staying 3 months. Went home, Skype, showed me, I was showing them how, look, Mom, I'm feeding them. You know, help me with that through Skype, and then and then on the 6th month in July, I get, you know, a phone call at night or text I wake up to that she's had a stroke, and you rush home, you have the baby. Now, normally my mother goes to the hospital, I stay in the hospital with her 24/7, but now I got Joshua. What do? Intensive care. I can't really bring him in. You know, my dad is in there, so. I finally was like, you know, my mother loved this baby like nothing. She spent all her time with him. I tell the nurse, I'm bringing him in. I take him in. He reaches for her. She reaches for him. She makes a noise. She reaches, she grabs him, and she's like, Now, she ain't said nothing else. So the nurse was like, oh, my God, the miracle baby. You know, and then after that, it was kind of pretty much done. I remember my mother... It's just things that happen. She was, they're like, it's going to happen pretty soon. I was like, what does that mean? People tell you, when the doctors tell you it's about to happen, they know what they're talking about. Yeah. They are watching some stuff that we can't read.
Right.
And I remember it says about to happen. My brother wasn't there. And he was taking his time because he just couldn't. He took probably about an hour to get to the hospital. My friend said he was riding around Cleveland showing them buildings. He was like, what are you doing, man? We got to get to the hospital. He would walk down the hallway slow. Do you know my mother waited till that boy got in the room?
Yeah. For her boy.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. We stood there, we watched her descend and go on. And I remember, well, we had her service. Now, I've never told this whole story. My mother's favorite bird was a dove. We had doves. I leave, I'm still at home with my dad. My cousin calls me back in LA and says, Kym, there's a dove in your yard. Like, a dove? We ain't got no doves. Let me tell you something. There's a dove stayed in my yard and on a light pole for 3 weeks. Came every day. Hush it now. See me, I'm doing an interview. Bill, hush your mouth. So,
there goes that moment, right? Because Mary and I were about to break down.
I know. Girl, that's the devil. See how the devil sneak in? Hush it. But the dove came every day at 3 o'clock. So we're like, what is this? My cousin's like, well, maybe you should call the lady in Cleveland and see if she lost one of her doves. I'm looking at him like, ain't no dove flew from Cleveland out here. And so we took pictures, video. I would bring Joshua out. We would feed the dove, talk to the dove, and then the dove left. On his first birthday, we had a little birthday party. He wanted to go to bed early. And, you saw my monitor, right? The video monitor. We're in the kitchen. We put him to bed, close the door. And the guy on the show, who's his father, Rodney, we were just in the kitchen talking. And we both looked at the video and said, who's in Joshua's room? And we see a woman with the white shirt on, the collar up, just like my mother, leaning over into the bed. May I tell you, you see somebody leaning over in your child's bed, our heart, we ran, the door is closed. We bust in there, nothing. We run the cameras back in the house, nothing. He looks at me, I look at him, we like, did you see what I saw? He said, I saw it. And I tell you right there, we just said, wow. On his first birthday. That was just incredible. And from that, I just look at how, my mom came in and how everything was just, it's what it was. The adoption went through in 6 months. I didn't even start the adoption. But once I started, it was like, nothing, just pop. And that's why I say, I don't, when people say, things that happen in your life, you make choices. And that's why I tell people, I said, this baby was supposed to be my baby. Now, he didn't come through me, but he definitely came to me. And it was definitely ordained by God, my mother, because had my mother left and I didn't have Joshua, I believe y'all been reading about Kym Whitley. I believe Kym Whitley would have been one of them ignorant people that jumped in the coffin or the flame and been like, Lord, no, Jesus, because my mom and daddy. But I remember every time I heard Joshua cry, and I was like, oh, I can't take it, my mother's gone, because we did everything together. Every time I heard Joshua cry, it was a reminder to get up and live. So people are like, oh, Joshua's so blessed. I'm like, no. I'm blessed. Joshua saved my life. So that is the story. I wanted y'all to see my kimono.
Yeah, and on that note, right, I was there to say the sleeves are just a waving.
We're going to continue this. My arm waving. Could be dead.
Shush. We're going to continue this in just a second. We're going to talk more about raising Joshua and Raising Whitley, the TV show, and what life has been like since you've gotten the TV show, and now everybody gets to peek into your house. And we're going to talk about what happened to the husband coming to you. We want to talk about that because the husband didn't come, I don't think.
I think it's the end of the interview. We y'all got commercials and goodbye.
We'll be back with more Mama's Gone Wild and Kym Whitley in part 2 of this episode of Raising Whitley.